Hi guys, welcome back. Now I know you have been really eager to calculate your final MCQ scores for the May June 24 paper 12 exam, which you were not able to do as these 4 questions were missing in the last video. But by the end of this video, you will be able to calculate your scores perfectly. So let's get started, and do click the subscribe button and the bell icon to get regular updates. So question number 11 says, which reason for the increase in demand for a smartphone is an example of joint demand? Now, if you look at the answer options, we know firstly, joint demand basically refers to the demand for 2 or more goods that are used together, right? And if the price of one good is going to go down and this good is a complement to the other good, then the demand for the complementary good will go up, it will increase. And so it follows that if you look at option B, a fall in the price of connecting to a network, that indicates a complement to the smartphone, because as connecting to the network becomes cheaper, more people are likely to, buy the smartphones to use the network, demonstrating joint demand in this case, right? So option B would be the correct answer. Question number 12 says a market is in equilibrium. The government intervenes by creating a price floor below which the market price cannot fall. Which term describes this form of government intervention? Now, a price floor is basically a minimum price that is set by the government, which means that, the market price cannot fall below this level, right? And this is basically intended to prevent prices from being too low, which means that option B, minimum price, accurately describes a price floor. Very easy question. Question number 13 says, what is an example of a public good? Now we know that public goods are non-excludable and non-rivalrous, which means that they can be used by everyone without reducing the availability to others, and people cannot be prevented from using them. And hence, if you look at these answer options, if you look at option number D, state provision of a national defense system, state provision of a national defense system is a classic example of a public good, because national defense is non-excludable since everyone would be protected, right? And non-rivalrous, it's also non-rivalrous. One person's protection does not diminishes, others. And I remember in my classes, I gave a whole note on why is national defense system considered a public good. Anyways, so option D, guys, would be the correct answer for question number 13. The next question 14, is a repeated question from the past papers. It says the diagram shows an initial market equilibrium for an agricultural good of $6 and 800 units. And so this is your original equilibrium at 6 and 800 units. And let's say that the government wants that the market price should go up to $10. And this equilibrium should be maintained at $10, and the government would somehow need to intervene, because at $10, what's happening is that at $10, the market demand contracts to 400, right? While quantity supplied at $10 is 800. Since supply is perfectly inelastic, so quantity supplied is totally not responsive to price. And so what is happening here is that you have a surplus of, let's say, A minus B, that is 400 units, and now if the government, let's say, does not intervene in this market and does nothing, then what will happen is that the price mechanism will ensure that the market restores itself at the equilibrium of $6, because what's going to happen is that the agricultural farmers would need to reduce the prices back to $6 ultimately to clear out the surplus, right? And so if the government wants to maintain the price at $10, then the government needs to buy up this surplus, right? And so if the government intervenes in the market as a buyer and buys up this surplus, it is absorbing that surplus and ensuring that all of the excess surplus stock is bought by the government. And what it follows then is that the surplus quantity, now with the surplus quantity is 400 units, and the government would end up buying the surplus at $10 from these farmers. And so the total expenditure that the firm would have to do in order to ensure that the market price stays at $10 and does not falls back to $6 is that it will need to spend $4,000 and buy up all the surplus that is created at $10, ensuring that the market price stays at $10. Right, guys? So option D should be the correct answer. So that's it, guys. Yes, we're done with those 4 questions as well, and I wish you all the best for your results in August. Until then, take care.